Carlotta is a 5-star limited Glacio DPS, and also the first limited character of Rinascita. She wields pistols and can dish out some serious damage. In this video, I have covered everything you need to know about her, including her kit, weapons, echoes, teams, rotation, sequences, and more. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting with her kit. Carlotta's kit is very confusing to look at, but don't worry, I will simplify it so that you can understand it easily. Most of her damage is considered as resonance skill damage. Almost 85% of her damage is resonance skill damage. First, we need to understand her forte circuit. Unlike most of the resonators that only have one forte circuit unit, Carlotta has two: substance and moldable crystal. There are various different ways to gain these. Let's start with moldable crystal. She can hold up to 6 such crystals, and she can gain them from her stage 2 basic attack, heavy attack, mid-air attack, intro skill, resonance skill, and a successful dodge. Each one of them restores 3 crystals. Now let's see where these moldable crystals can be used. With moldable crystals, Carlotta's basic attack is replaced with necessary measures, which can chain up to 3 strikes. Each strike of necessary measures consumes 1 moldable crystal. A dodge counter consumes 1 moldable crystal. Moldable crystals can also be used to cast a special resonance skill. Carlotta's initial resonance skill deals some nice damage and immobilizes the enemy for 1.5 seconds, which is very helpful. Shortly after casting this, she can use the resonance skill again that will consume all moldable crystals and deal very high damage. The resonance skill has a long cooldown of 14 seconds, but don't worry, it can be reduced, which we will discuss in a bit. This was all we could do with moldable crystals. Now, let's move on to substance. The moldable crystals are connected to substance in a way. Carlotta can hold up to 120 substance. She gains 30 substance on casting intro skill. She gains 10 substance for each moldable crystal consumed in any of the aforementioned ways. When Carlotta's substance is full, her heavy attack will be replaced with containment tactics, which in simple words means it gets enhanced and consume all substance to deal damage. Additionally, it will reduce the cooldown of resonance skill by 6 seconds. That's not all. This heavy attack can be further enhanced. Every 22 seconds, Carlotta enters a state called tinted crystal. If she gets full substance while in this state, she can use heavy attack imminent oblivion by holding down her normal attack button, which in simple terms mean her heavy attack is enhanced to the max level. This attack deals a very high nuke damage, which is considered as skill damage, reduces the cooldown of her resonance skill by 6 seconds, just like the previous heavy attack, and having full substance also activates a special state called Final Blow. Now, what does the Final Blow state do? Carlotta has 3 resonance liberation stages, which we will discuss in a bit. The Final Blow state increases the damage multiplier of all these stages of her liberation by 80%. Switching her out during her liberation state will end this effect. Now, let's talk about her resonance liberation. On using resonance liberation, she deals an initial big hit, which is considered as resonance skill damage, inflicts deconstruction on enemies, and activate a state called Twilight Tango. Dealing damage to enemies inflicted by deconstruction will ignore 18% of their defense. Now, what is Twilight Tango? While in Twilight Tango, Carlotta cannot gain moldable crystals or substance. All the crystals and substance gets removed while in this state, and she cannot use those special attacks related to these units. In this state, using normal attacks or resonance liberation will cast Death Knell, dealing some nice damage to enemies. This damage is considered as resonance skill damage. Each Death Knell grants 1 metavector. While in possession of 4 such metavectors, using normal attack or resonance liberation casts Fatal Finale, which deals very high damage in an area. Casting Fatal Finale ends Twilight Tango. So, her resonance liberation is basically use the liberation, do Death Knell 4 times by pressing normal attack or liberation. Then end it by casting Fatal Finale by pressing either normal attack or liberation. I know her kit is extremely big and may be confusing, but don't worry, you will understand her better after seeing her rotation, which I will explain later in the video. Now let's take a look at her passive skills. In her first inherent skill, after casting Resonance Skill Chromatic Splendor, that is the second stage of her skill, Carlotta can perform mid-air attack while being immune to any damage or interruptions. This is nice as we will be using this attack in our combos. Additionally, when Carlotta is on the team, the active Resonator's flight stamina cost is reduced by 20%, which can be useful in exploration. In her second inherent passive, Intro Skill, the second stage of Resonance Skill, Resonance Liberation Death Knell, and Heavy Attack Imminent Oblivion, that is the max enhanced heavy attack, can inflict deconstruction. Just in case you forgot, I will explain deconstruction again. Dealing damage to enemies inflicted by deconstruction will ignore 18% of their defense. This is really good for damage, as it basically lets you have 100% uptime on this effect. Her outro skill deals a big nuke damage, equal to 794.2% of her attack. For her talent priority, her Resonance Liberation takes the top priority, as it makes up for most of her damage, followed by her Resonance Skill, the Forte Circuit, and lastly, you can choose to level or skip the basic attacks and intro skill. Moving on to her weapons, her best in slot weapon is her signature, the Last Dance. It has a base attack of 500 and a very high crit damage of 72%. Every time intro skill or Resonance Liberation is cast, Resonance Skill damage bonus is increased by 48% for 5 seconds. This is around 17% better than her second best choice, Static Mist, which is the standard 5-star weapon. This weapon provides critical rate. From its passive, it provides energy regen, which is quite nice. Sadly, the other half of the passive is wasted on Carlotta, who is a main DPS. Thunderbolt, which is the BP weapon at max refinement, is her best 4-star option, but it is only slightly better than the F2P option with same refinement, so do not waste money on this. Since Carlotta can inflict negative statuses on enemies, the new craftable weapon, Romance and Farewell, is a very good weapon choice on her. It provides up to 32% attack increase from its passive. It performs better than the BP weapon with higher refinements. Undying Flame is a very close weapon option to the craftable weapon at same refinements. If you are a new player, you can use S5 Pistols of the Night as a placeholder till you get the better weapons. Moving on to her echoes. The best echo set for her is going to be 5-piece Frosty Resolve, which is a new set. This is specifically made for Carlotta. The 2-piece of this set gives 12% resonance skill damage, which is great for Carlotta, who mostly deals resonance skill damage. The 5-piece is where things get interesting. Casting Resonance Skill grants 22.5% Glacio damage bonus for 15 seconds, and casting Resonance Liberation increases Resonance Skill damage by 18%, lasting for 5 seconds. This effect stacks up to 2 times. That is a total of 48% Resonance Skill damage bonus from this set. And for the Echo skill, you will need the Sentry Construct. This Echo gives a permanent 12% Glacio damage bonus and 12% Resonance Skill damage bonus just by equipping it in the main slot. On using it, you will convert into the Sentry Construct and deal Glacio damage. This skill has a cooldown of 25 seconds. Each time the Resonator with this Echo casts Resonance Liberation, it enhances the skill. Once the skill is at max level, the Echo skill cooldown will be reset, and using it will deal Glacio damage and freeze the target. It deals some nice damage, and you can swap cancel this Echo skill, which makes it amazing. Other alternatives include the Lingering Tunes with Mech Abomination Echo skill, as long as you are not quick swapping. The Freezing Frost set with Lumiscale Construct Echo skill can also be used, till you farm her best in slot set. Alternatively, you can use 2-piece set combinations of these 3 sets and use it as a placeholder. For her Echo stats, crit rate or damage on the 4-cost Echo, double Glacio damage bonus or a combination of 1 attack and 1 glacio damage on the 3-cost Echo. Both the combinations are pretty close, so use the one with better substats. An attack percent on the 1-cost Echoes. Carlotta has a low energy cost of 125. Her liberation is a crucial part of her kit, so it's important to have it back up every rotation. Try to get around 15 to 20% energy regen from Echo substats. Then prioritize crit rate and damage, followed by attack percent, resonance skill damage, and flat attack. Let's move on to her teams. With the release of Carlotta, Jeji's kit can now fully be utilized. Jeji's outro skill gives 20% glacio and 25% resonance skill damage amplification. I think Jeji was pre-made just for Carlotta. She is the best support for her. If you don't have her, you can use Lumi, who can buff resonance skill damage. Taochi can provide the same buff, but she feels very clunky and slow. Or you can also use Sanhua, just as a moonlit set holder, or Yinlin for her damage. You can also run a quick swap team with Changli, Encore, etc. Carlotta has some swap cancel windows, like her enhanced resonance skill, the mid-air attack or the heavy attack. You can also do something like this: swap cancel the enhanced skill, then quickly go back to Carlotta to complete the mid-air attack. However, you cannot swap cancel after using her liberation, or you will lose the final blow buff from her Forte circuit, but I am pretty sure this playstyle can be viable. And for the last slot, you will need a sustained support, like Shorekeeper, Verena, or Baiji. Yuhu also works if you are using a coordinated damage dealer. Moving on to her rotation. Before starting her main combo, you will need 30 substance. For this, start the fight by using her resonance skill, along with the enhanced one to get 30 substance and 3 moldable crystals. You can swap cancel the enhanced skill as soon as its animation starts. Then, do your support rotation. Get an intro on Carlotta. Then use the resonance skill twice, and do the mid-air attack to return back to ground. Then, use her Forte heavy attack. Use her liberation, followed by 4 death knells and 1 fatal finale. In simple words, after her liberation, spam the normal attack 5 times. After this, use her resonance skill, along with the enhanced one again, to get 30 substance and 3 moldable crystals required for the next rotation. Then, use her Echo skill and swap cancel into your supports. Repeat the rotation.
Moving on to her sequences. In her first sequence, when Carlotta deals damage to target affected by deconstruction, the crit rate of that damage is increased by 12.5%, which basically means a permanent crit rate increase. And her enhanced skill will restore 30 additional points of substance, which shortens her rotation. With this sequence, you skip using her resonance skill at the beginning of a fight to gain 30 substance. Even though it provides a damage increase of around 9%, it is a nice sequence as it makes her rotation shorter and the crit rate makes it easier to build her. But still, I would prefer a new character over this sequence. The second sequence increases the damage multiplier of her liberation by 126%. Since the damage is quite big, this sequence is a nice increase. The third sequence deals an additional big hit alongside her outro skill and increases the damage multiplier of her resonance skills by 93%. The fourth sequence gives team-wide 25% skill damage bonus to the entire team. The fifth sequence increases the multiplier of her Forte heavy attack by 47%. The sixth sequence is her best one. It increases the damage multiplier of death knells. Additionally, the death knells immobilize the enemies for 1.5 seconds. And lastly, some final thoughts about Carlotta. She is very easy and fun to play while dealing very high damage. She is a Jinsei level DPS, but doesn't have a big AoE like her. She is absolutely worth pulling for. I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe for more Wuthering Waves content. Thanks for watching.